Most of them out here with a quick guide to the top 3 best followers to farm for Tomb Kings in Total War Warhammer 2. I'll also briefly cover the Canopic Jar cheese, how to maximize your research rate. With Immortal Empires just around the corner and Tomb Kings about to be ported into Total War Warhammer 3, if there are any changes, I'll make a note of it in the description down below. The Tomb Kings have one of the smallest lists of followers out of any factions in the game. However, they do have 3 followers that are very good to farm. If you weren't aware of Cpecific's ultimate ancillary guide, I highly recommend you bookmark it. I'll put a link in the description below. One thing to note that's different about the Tomb Kings is this yellow marker. All of these followers prevent ancillary duplication. That means if you've already looted one of these followers on your hero or lord, that lord or hero will not be able to loot the same follower as long as it's equipped. So if you're trying to farm the same followers over and over again, it's important that you unequip that follower from the hero in order to give them another chance to loot the same one. Number 3 on my list is the Priest of Patra. This follower gives you plus 6% campaign movement range, and how you farm this is by ranking up in any region which belongs to the vampire counts. Depending on which faction you play, you may not have easy access to a vampire count faction. When you do expand, if you find yourself at war with any vampire count faction, you should definitely set up a sack city and farm that sack city until you can pick up a few of these followers. Any character that ranks up, heroes or lords, have a 15% chance to get this follower every time they rank up in a region that belongs to the vampire counts. As indicated by these 2 icons here, you can equip this follower on either a hero or a lord. However, usually with movement range followers like this, you'll only actually get the effect on an army if it's applied to a lord. Tomb Kings have a special resource, Canopic Jars. Later in the game, you'll need a lot of these Canopic Jars in order to unlock special units, additional armies, and purchase different magical items. Main way to cheese this mechanic is to use the Great Incantation of Tahoth to give you plus 3 Lord recruit rank faction wide, and then repeatedly hire new lords and spend their initial skill points in Canopic Jar Hoarder. Lords that you replace go back into your pool, but they'll continue to give you those Canopic Jars every single turn. Eventually you'll accrue a massive stable of disbanded lords, giving you tons of Canopic Jars. While you're regularly hiring new lords to cheese Canopic Jars, keep your eye out for lords with the Trustworthy trait. Each one of these lords gives you plus 5 relations to every faction on the entire map. Collecting these throughout the game will eventually make every faction love you. The number 2 best follower to farm as Tomb Kings is the Tomb Fleet Taskmaster. This follower gives you plus 10% campaign movement range. Only lords have a chance to get this follower. After you've fought a battle, if you choose the Endless March option, the option that gives you plus 20% movement rate, then you have a 5% chance to get this for your main lord only. With only a 5% chance, it can be really hard to get this follower to drop. A plus 10% movement range is huge. So I highly recommend you choose the Endless March after battle option as often as you can and just keep trying to get this follower. Another Tomb King mechanic that can be difficult to deal with is the increasing penalty to research rate every time you research a new dynasty. You need to research new dynasties to increase your army capacity, critically to increase your capacity for heroes and for various other benefits. But every time you research a new dynasty, your research rate drops by 30%. If you're playing as Arhan the Black, Settra, or Khalida, you do have a fairly simple way to mitigate this, which is by farming the defeat trait of Rapance. If you kill Rapance every 5 turns when she respawns with a different lord, you'll keep accruing plus 5 research rate each time. With the extra research rate that you get for taking over more territory, you can nearly keep up with the 30% malice that you get with each new dynasty. Later, when you make it to Ikit Claw's territory, you can also farm his lord defeat trait for even more research rate. The number 1 best follower, in my opinion, for the Tomb Kings is the Charnel Valley Necrotech. This follower gives you minus 15% construction cost for all infrastructure buildings, and this follower can be equipped by both heroes and lords. If you stack 6 or 7 of these followers on the same army, you can make building costs completely free. The Tomb Kings have a unique economy. Their armies are completely free, but their buildings cost a normal amount. However, most of their income sources are severely reduced compared to other factions. Heavily reducing the cost of buildings reduces the stress on the Tomb King's economy for building up your infrastructure. But even beyond that, if you have enough of these to make your buildings free, you can actually build the buildings and then later on demolish the buildings to get a refund, essentially creating money out of nothing because you never had to pay for the building in the first place. Later in the game, when you farmed a lot of these followers, this exploit can be a real boon to the Tomb King's economy. Another follower worth mentioning is the Skeletal Laborer. If you've got a sack city, that is an enemy city that you sack each turn without ever actually occupying, then you'll have a 25% chance to get this follower on your main lord every time you do that. You don't really need to go out of your way to farm this because you have that 25% chance on any settlement that you sack anytime. If you're already farming a mountain region to get Channel Valley Necrotex, you'll be sacking that city over and over, and you'll be getting skeletal laborers as well. So you don't really need to go out of your way to farm this follower. The dog-headed Ashabti gives you minus 5% right cost, and you can equip this on multiple lords and heroes. However, it's quite hard to farm, and the gold cost of rights isn't really a huge issue in the late game. The Acolyte follower increases your income from all buildings by 10% in the local region. Again, you can equip this on heroes and lords, so you could potentially stack this on 10 different heroes in one region and get plus 100% income. However, because of the limited number of armies and heroes that you can get as the Tomb Kings, you're probably not going to want to have your heroes and lords stationed permanently in a region in order to get this economy bonus. I hope this video gave you a few ideas for your next Tomb King campaign, and if Cpecific's ancillary guide helped you, please take the time to go to his Steam guide and give it a thumbs up and maybe a Steam award to recognize Cpecific's contribution to the Total War science.